you come off as very networking guy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do BNI, any groups, any
I've
social networking?
I've done BNI. I didn't like how I felt with BNI.
What went wrong? Why you didn't like it?
Fucking too much clicky, too much nose in the air. I don't know. I didn't fucking like it. I don't know.
Some people killing it, some people
Yeah,
like it, and that's okay. That's what it's powerful.
yeah.
What about real
Well,
estate agents, and
well,
what about?
well, hold on. With BNI, so part of the thing was I didn't like. I don't like I didn't like some of the bouginess, and it was not just one. I tried multiple ones, and I'm like, damn. Well, that doesn't mean they're all like that, because I have met one group that was, the personalities were cool, but the ones that I'm doing this, the feeling that I've had often when I've done other networking groups is I'm showing up every week, but what we needed was so, I would say, rare almost. How often is somebody replacing a roof and then out of their pocket? So people look at it as, okay, so storm, and I'm pretty much sitting around waiting, for the time that it hails, for somebody to go, oh yeah, well, then come use us. And then I still had to chase the people down. I'm like, hey, I show up to this meeting every freaking week, and I know you got it because you told me you live in this city, and I know where the hell's at. How come I'm not getting a phone? And then you have to work these people. So it's beneficial. And this, I tell my guys to go to networking groups because it's beneficial and you'll get something here and there. But it does teach you how to socialize. It teaches you what's important to other people. It teaches you how to work in a group. It gets them out their shell. I'm really big on B2B. And I think the proper way to use a networking group isn't to go there, sit at the round table, and then hold, like with your trick-or-treat basket, and look and see if you got something in your bag. You're going there to meet people, make friends, and it's putting you in a place to force to get relationships. Because after high school, where are you being social at? Your kids' school practice or sport practice, and there's a list of probably not more than whatever these fingers are. You got church activities, maybe a bar, and something else, and that's it. Your lives are boring. So you're not going to meet people. So the purpose of it, in my mind, of a networking group is to put you in a group of people where you have the opportunity of meeting people so that they know what you do, so that you can build relationships. And when you build the relationships, the fruit of that tree can hopefully be a deal or revenue or something to your company. I've done those. I've tried just random ones. Recently, I tried to find more specific ones. Like, for example, even recently, I just joined there's a black chamber of commerce, and then I realized in there it was less competition and people, and so I went there, but not everybody there is for me. Or I might find industry specific ones, and I think I'm going to experiment with creating some of my own. But networking, I think, is really important. It's a lot of the reason why people go to the conferences, why people go to industry-specific things. You're not always going there for what's on stage. You're going there for what happens when you turn around after what's on stage, and I think that's really important. I highly encourage people to train your people to go out and build other professional relationships. You can use obvious ones. I'll teach you how. I'm not going to tell you exactly, but I'm going to tell you how to think. You should be thinking like this. Who is my customer? My customer is a homeowner. Who else has a customer that is the same target market as mine? My target market is typically a property owner of this thing or of a residential. So who interacts with this building? Maybe there's HVAC. Maybe it's the guy that cleans the driveway. Maybe it's a painter. Maybe it's a handyman. Maybe it's somebody that doesn't do what I do, but they're going after the same target market as me. Those are the people that you should be networking and connecting with. And even if not at a group or at a meetup place or on a website or whatever, go knock on somebody's door. There's an old-fashioned saying, and I write it on the board every once in a while with my guys. I write STP, and then I do a circle this way, half circle this way, a half circle this way, and a dot and a dot. See 20 people belly to belly. And get out there. That means get out, shake some hands, look at people's eyes. If you have a short attention span, ask yourself, well, what color are their eyes? So that you're looking in their eyes and they think that you're paying attention to them. And really, you're just trying to figure out, is that hazel or brown or whatever. And get out there and meet people and let people know. You need to become the celebrity in your industry of what you do. I said earlier this week that you need to remember that people need to come to you if it has anything to do with the house. That I'm giving you game. So anything to do with the house. I gave you one example earlier. So that was the asphalt person. It has nothing to do with the roof. Now you might drive down the street and see a pickup truck wrapped or the yard sign, they're out there and you're like, has nothing to do with me. No. Pull over, put the car in park, pop out, Go meet the person, shake their hand, because you don't know, because they're working just like you, and they might have 10 customers in this area, and you might be able to figure out a way that you guys can work together. So there's direct marketing, and that last example is an example of indirect marketing and just building relationships. And when you do that, people will like you. They might not know your company, but they'll like you. And the more they like you, the more they're going to want you in their lives, and they're going to want them around, because the older you get, people suck. And people let people down, so they lose relationships, so they get lonely. Well, it's in our DNA to be a part of a tribe to survive. So people like people, and they're constantly going through this. It's like a large company. They're going through turnover. They bring somebody in their lives. It sucks. It doesn't work. They get out. They get them out. So they're constantly looking for people. People like people. People just let people down, personally and in business. So it's just a relationship thing. So understand relationships, understand likability, and understand opportunity, and stop looking for it in the traditional way that you're used to looking for in it.
Do you work for the adjusters? Insurance adjusters?
Insurance adjusters?
Like, do you network with them? Do you try to solicit to them?
I try to make friends with insurance adjusters. Insurance adjusters to me are like prosecutors. You can go in there and you can make that guy your enemy if you want to, but you're probably not going to get the deal that you were looking for. Or you can go in there and you can be likable, and you can tell them not how to do their job, but maybe a different way of looking at things, and that you're not whatever bad image they may have of you, right? These insurance adjusters deal with a lot, and not you, because of course you're not a jerk or asshole, but everybody else. They're used to dealing with guys that are telling them what to do. This is damage. I know what this looks like. I'm smarter than you. Blah, 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 blah. I've been doing this. How long have you been doing it? I hate when people say that. They don't want the ego. Leave your ego at home. Leave it in the truck. And then before you get on the roof, check your ego again. When you get on the roof or you get out there in business, leave your ego. Be humble. You walk on there, that's his roof. It's not yours. You're there to help your home. And I'm not even here because of me. Just like in the Danielson, Mr. Miyagi thing. I'm Mr. Miyagi. What was Mr. Miyagi? Do you remember? You don't remember much lines of Mr. Miyagi because he didn't speak much unless it was valuable and worth it. The story was Danielson. That's the homeowner. The villain was the insurance company, but you can't tell the villain they're the villain, or otherwise they're gonna come after you. So when I go up there, I'm just here to help out Danielson, and I'm gonna be quiet, and I'm just gonna point things out, and I'm gonna network with these guys. I'm gonna make jokes. I'm gonna laugh. I might even buy them lunch, which I've done a handful of times. Some of them, but you gotta be careful with some of that stuff because you don't want to make it seem like the wrong thing. If I'm getting lunch, I'm not going to eat by myself. When I came here, I was getting some breakfast. I brought lunch for everybody, and more than enough, just because that's my type of personality. And people understand that there's people that are thoughtful and people that think about others. And sometimes they pay attention to the small things. You don't know what they're looking at. So with insurance adjusters, I don't try to develop a relationship in a way that makes them uncomfortable, because they're still people, and you don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. Like, oh, I'm not supposed to have a relationship with you. I don't want them to feel like that, because this is what their body posture will be, and that's not what I need. I might change the subject, and I'll talk about anything except for what they expect me to talk about. Maybe I'll talk about fishing, this and this and that and that. They expect me to get up there and get down on my hands and knees with a microphone glass and scrape the shingle with them, and nobody likes that. Just like whatever work you do, you don't want somebody over your shoulder. So I give them their space, I respect them as a human, and then from there, I think people understand that, because you can ask any insurance adjuster out there on the job. They know the logo of whoever's a jerk, and owners and managers, make sure you're controlling your people. Everybody's got a bad hire, whether you know it or not. It happens. There's an ugly duckling everywhere. So make sure your ugly duckling doesn't throw dirt on your logo, because if that guy leaves, and I've had it happen to me, that guy leaves, and next thing you know, you get a bad review or something bad happens, and that guy's on 2 or 3 other companies, but you still have the residue from that bad experience. So make sure that's not a thing, because this last year I had a guy. He came out, he sold about $1 million within his first 2 months. First deal was this property he went after was $92,000, and then his 5th or 6th deal was a property that was 600 squares of metal and 550 before we started supplementing it. So I'm looking like, damn, this guy did, quickly, after supplementing, that's about $1 million right there. But he's a freaking jerk, and he's abrasive, and conversations with him have tension. And it's a frequency that's just like you don't really want around you too much. And he's really, hey, I'm going to fight for what I got. So some people cross the line of passion into offensiveness, and you have to watch that because people assume birds of a feather. So if one guy is creating a bad relationship with an insurance adjuster, they're not going to say Dimitri was a jerk. They're going to say directory is bad. And people talk. So be a likable person, be a friendly person, and just have good, pure intent. And that should be an internal thing. And if you work on that internally, it'll come outwards in ways that you don't have to explain. Because just as much as bad people are bad internally, they don't know that it's coming out. Well, it's the same thing with good. People are more attracted to good. So I don't directly look or seek for relationships with insurance agents, but when I'm around them, I definitely use the opportunity for what I need it to be. I also am conscious of what videos I'm putting on the internet, because a lot of people are doing snake farm, all snake, da 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 da. Hey, every once in a while it's funny to say that because this is your industry. But if you're that person, insurance adjusters, bad, well, that becomes a part of your, not just your post, but your identity. And they start thinking that's your identity. And you don't want that to be a part.
You have to be reasonable.
You have to be reasonable.
You have to recognize the good one, because some of them are good, some of them are bad. You can't just say bad.
Yeah.
The same thing about contractors. You can't say the contractors are always bad or good.
Right.
Because you have to be reasonable. I agree. Last marketing advice to contractors.
Last marketing advice for a contractor: don't do something that you don't want to do, and really practice being selfless. You can be closed fist, you can be hard, or you can be open fist, and you can be soft. You can receive information, and you can be soft. Doesn't mean that you're not hard. It's not important. Take all of this information that you're getting from these lessons that you're learning, from these videos, from me and other people that are teaching you guys advice, and you don't have to remember all of it, but something's going to resonate with you. And take that gem with you and pull it out and take the best of what you've learned throughout life, from a child for teenager years and your relationships. Take all the things that you've learned that's made you who you are, good and bad, and try to give that to someone else. And when you meet somebody, try to be a person who gives more than you receive. And if you practice in trying to give to others, that mentality, people will feel that. And because if I'm coming off, I'm doing marketing, I want empathy to be a part of what I'm giving people, and I want value to be a part of it. And I don't want people to look and say, this guy is giving his agenda, he's doing his thing. I want people to say, that guy was trying to help. He knows something, he knows more than he's saying, and he's a nice person that I would like to have around me. Because in any market that's highly competitive, if there's hundreds of contractors, well, why you? Is it the information? No, they got the same information. They got the same information, tools, and resources. The difference is going to be probably the people in the process in this one. Our process is going to be different, like Marcus Lemon. As people process product. It's not as much as our product in here, because the products, we can all go shopping at the same store. The process is going to be relatively the same, but the difference is going to be the people. Be a better person, and people will want better people around them. It's that simple.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thanks
Appreciate
for having me,
you.
man. Appreciate you, brother.
That was great.